As a kid, yeah. All a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from everybody. Life lesson learned, I better learn from this bitch, nobody. She pushed me around, she didn't give no motherfucks about it. She broke my heart 3 times, but I ain't getting...
So around this time every year as we approach the NFL draft, there's always one quarterback prospect who seems to get a lot of hate for apparently no reason at all. Last year was Justin Herbert. A couple of years ago was Lamar Jackson. Now this year it's Mac Jones. Now Mac Jones, in my opinion, is one of the best quarterbacks in the upcoming NFL draft. And I believe that Mac Jones is going to have the best NFL career out of all the other quarterback prospects in this draft class. And the reasons why people say Mac Jones is overrated and Mac Jones is going to be a bust, the main reason that people use for their argument when it comes to critiquing Mac Jones is, first of all, they say that he was carried by the talent at Alabama. Because Mac Jones was throwing to Devontae Smith, he was throwing to Jalen Waddle. Okay, that's understandable, but if you're going to use that critique against Mac Jones, then how come you didn't use that argument last year against Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow played on arguably one of the greatest national championship teams in college football history. He was throwing to Justin Jefferson and Ja'Marr Chase, which Ja'Marr Chase is going to pretty much be a top 10 selection in the upcoming NFL draft. He also was throwing to Justin Jefferson, who was drafted in the first round of last year's NFL draft back in 2020. He ended up being the best rookie wide receiver last year. On top of that, he had Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the backfield, who went in the first round in Kansas City. Then he had the best offensive line in college football. On top of that, he had Joe Brady as the passing game coordinator, who is now the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. But during the draft process last year, I didn't see nobody bring that up about Joe Burrow. But for some reason, everybody wants to bring that up when it comes to Mac Jones. Another thing is that they want to say that Mac Jones can't run. Okay, Mac Jones may not be the most athletically gifted quarterback in this draft class. Nobody's denying that. But he can run if he need be, okay? He can pick up 4 or 5 yards. He can extend a play or two. I understand that mobility in this day and age of the NFL is really important because of how fast these upcoming edge rushers are now, and the fact that you have to have a mobile quarterback who can extend plays and can pick up a couple of yards from time to time. That is a very important factor in this day and age of the NFL, the way the NFL game has started to adapt and has started to change over the last couple of years. But let's not act like Mac Jones is just some unathletic scum who just can't run, can't do anything at all. Mac Jones can pick up a couple of yards. He can extend the play or two if he has to. And when you look at Mac Jones, he's not the only quarterback in this draft class who was playing on a pretty good team. Trevor Lawrence was playing on a really good team with Clemson. Let's not act like he was playing with straight bums. Let's not act like Justin Fields was playing with straight bums. Let's not act like Trey Lance wasn't playing with straight bums. Trey Lance is playing in the best FCS program in America right now. North Dakota State is a freaking dynasty right now. So let's not act like all these other upcoming quarterback prospects are just so great that they just make everybody around them and they're playing with no talent at all and they're carrying teams on their back. Like, common sense would tell you, if you play for a school like Clemson, like Alabama, like Ohio State that brings in top 5 recruiting classes year in and year out, of course you're going to have a quarterback who plays with some of the best talent in America. Why does that have to be a knock on them? Okay, and another thing is, everybody likes to make the assumption that just because a quarterback comes from a program that's not good at producing NFL quarterbacks, that means that they are just automatically going to be a bust. That doesn't make no sense to me because every quarterback prospect is different. Okay, nobody is saying that Deshaun Watson was going to be a bust just because Taj Boyd didn't work out in the NFL. Nobody is saying that, Justin Fields is going to be a bust just because Dwayne Haskins is currently known as a bust right now in the NFL. If that is your thinking, then I think you need to alter your thinking. Just because of a program's history of past successors, isn't good doesn't mean that their following quarterback in the NFL is going to be terrible just because the history of quarterbacks in that program hasn't worked out. That is very, low level thinking. And another thing that I don't understand is people keep saying that Mac Jones doesn't make anybody better. Well, Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith were asked anonymously by NFL teams that were interviewing them who they felt was better, Tua Tagovailoa or Mac Jones. And you know what both Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith said? They both said Mac Jones. So I don't think that was a mistake, and I don't think that they were doing that intentionally. They were asked the question who they felt was better, Tua or Mac Jones, and they said Mac Jones. Mac Jones, in my opinion, is a better NFL draft prospect than Tua. And a lot of you guys may disagree with that statement, but Mac Jones was a more accurate passer. And I'm not going by stats. I'm going by how I evaluate how accurate a quarterback is. An accurate quarterback to me is a quarterback that's able to throw wide receivers open. As soon as wide receivers start to break into the route, the ball is there. Okay, ball placement. Mac Jones is also really good with that. He also has a better arm than what a lot of people give him credit for. People keep saying that he has a below average to average arm. I don't see that. I've seen several throws this year that Mac Jones has thrown into tight windows that a lot of people don't seem to give him credit for. I just think that Mac Jones is just getting so much undeserving hate that it makes no sense. On top of that, for all you guys that like to say Mac Jones is only carried by talent around him, newsflash, he was the best quarterback during Senior Bowl week, and he didn't even play in the Senior Bowl game because he had an ankle injury. So I don't really understand the harsh criticism about Mac Jones being overrated and now he's going to be a bust. Mac Jones is probably going to, be critiqued to the point that his draft stock drops. Maybe he drops out of the top 10. He's going to end up going to a really good franchise. He's going to end up proving all of you naysayers out there wrong. He's going to win a couple of Super Bowls, and he's going to end up being the most successful quarterback in this draft class. And I guarantee you, because I've seen this so many times year in and year out, people just try to bone pick these quarterbacks to death. And listen, I'm not trying to criticize anybody who gets paid thousands of dollars and more money than me to evaluate these NFL draft prospects. I understand that, but I feel like sometimes people just nitpick so much that they just force themselves to hate a prospect, and everybody just thinks about the negatives and nobody thinks about the positives. Same thing with Justin Herbert. Like, people were trying to call Justin Herbert Mitchell Trubisky 2.0, and I'm still waiting for the apologies that Justin Herbert has not yet received for those disrespectful comparisons people have gave Justin Herbert last season coming into the NFL draft process. Now we saw Justin Herbert have a better season than Joe Burrow and every other quarterback last year. Somebody even went on this platform and said that they will draft Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert. So, I mean, listen, I understand that not every quarterback prospect is perfect. Every quarterback prospect has their flaws. Some quarterback prospects have more flaws than others, which is why some quarterback prospects go in the first round and others do not. But I don't think Mac Jones is just so bad of a prospect that he doesn't deserve to be drafted in the first round. As a matter of fact, I think that right now, Mac Jones is better than Justin Fields and Trey Lance. And that may sound crazy to you, but I believe that Mac Jones is a better day one starter right now than what Justin Fields and Trey Lance are. Justin Fields struggles to read the field, and he goes through his progression slowly, something that hasn't really been a knock on Mac Jones. He's pretty good with his process, and he's pretty good with his decision making. Trey Lance, same thing with him, really. How's he going to adapt going from FCS to the NFL level? Because that is going to be, a little bit of a level of adaptability. He's also not the perfect prospect. On top of that, he played in the SEC. He played against SEC defenses. He played against some of the best talent in America. Now, I know that doesn't always translate well because there have been several quarterbacks who have came from the SEC who haven't worked out in the NFL, but I strongly believe that Mac Jones is the third best quarterback prospect in this draft class in terms of being able to start day one right now. Now, Justin Fields and Trey Lance have more potential than Mac Jones. Nobody's denying that. But if you're asking me to rank these quarterbacks based on who I feel will be able to have more success starting week 1 of the upcoming 2021 NFL season, it would be Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, then Mac Jones. So for me personally, I think that Mac Jones is overhated. I think he's getting way too much hate. I think he is going to have the best career out of all the draft prospects at the quarterback position in the 2021 quarterback draft class. So let me know what you guys think about Mac Jones down in the comment section down below. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.